Who doesn't know Sherlock Holmes? The resident of 221B Baker Street has never failed to amaze audiences with the way he thinks.
The name's Sherlock Holmes and the address is 221B Baker Street.
He is one of the most popular fictional characters ever created. Sherlock Holmes has been portrayed by more than 200 actors on screen and has inspired countless other characters, including Batman, Adrian Monk, and Conan. Sherlock Holmes is a fictional detective created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a Scottish writer and physician. Calling himself a consulting detective, Holmes is known for his extraordinary intellect and razor-sharp logical reasoning. But what makes him truly fascinating is not that he is a superhuman. He is not. He is simply a man. And that means, at least in theory, the way he thinks can be learned. Not perfectly, not to his level, but it can be imitated. As Ellen Langer, a professor of psychology at Harvard University, once said, Holmes provides a form of education, one that improves how we think, how we reason, and how we make better decisions.
Decent. The game, Mrs. Hudson, is on. I'm saved!
Another psychologist, Daniel Kahneman, proposed that the human mind operates using two distinct systems to process and organize information. The first is a fast, real-time system. It makes judgments and decisions instantly, before our conscious mind has the chance to intervene. The second system is slower. It relies on deliberate thinking, critical investigation, and careful evaluation of evidence. According to Maria Konnikova, author of Mastermind, How to Think Like Sherlock Holmes, these two systems can be understood through the lens of Holmes himself. The first system is Watson. The second is Holmes. Watson reacts. Holmes analyzes. To move from the Watson system to the structured thinking of Holmes requires mindfulness, the ability to direct attention intentionally, and motivation. And this is crucial. Sherlock Holmes spends his entire life cultivating the habit of mindfulness. What we choose to notice and what we choose to ignore determines how information is framed inside our minds. Holmes does not see more than others. He sees deliberately. And that, more than intelligence, is the foundation of how he thinks. We carry countless bad habits inside our minds, and we have to retrain ourselves to truly become aware of the world again. Everything we do reshapes the brain. The problem is not change itself. The problem is reshaping it in a way that makes mindfulness feel natural, not exhausting. Attention is a limited resource. When we give attention to one thing, we are always taking it away from something else. We cannot divide our attention across multiple tasks and expect the brain to function at the same level as when it is focused on one thing. The brain does not truly multitask. What we call multitasking is merely the brain switching rapidly from one task to another and then back again. Studies consistently show that people who multitask are significantly less efficient than those who focus deeply on a single task. As children, we were intensely aware of the world around us. We noticed sounds, textures, movements. Over time, that awareness fades. Our minds become crowded with responsibilities, expectations, and problems demanding solutions. The more demands placed on our attention, the less attention we actually possess. And as that happens, we lose the ability to recognize our own patterns of thought and emotion. Eventually, we allow the brain to make judgments and decisions for us, instead of the other way around. This is where mindfulness becomes essential. There are many ways to train mindfulness, but the foundation is simple: learning how to observe ourselves and what happens inside the mind. One of the easiest ways to begin is right at your desk. Sit still, notice your surroundings, use your senses, observe your emotions, and allow them to exist without resistance. To think clearly, we need distance. We need the ability to step back from our thoughts, even if only slightly. This is difficult and often feels counterintuitive. When facing a problem, our instinct is to push harder, to think faster, to force a solution. But stepping back does more than encourage creative thinking. It also protects us from short-term emotional reactions that cloud judgment. Sherlock Holmes played the violin for this reason. It pulled him out of obsessive thought and into pure physical presence. And in that space, clarity could finally emerge. Sherlock Holmes once said, I consider that the brain of a man is originally like a small empty attic, and you have to stock it with such furniture as you choose. The attic space is a creative metaphor for how our mind actually works. Holmes believed that the human brain starts as an empty attic, and we are the ones who decide what gets placed inside it. An attic has two components: structure and content. Our mental attic should never confuse the two, because mixing structure with content can cause knowledge to decay, distort, or disappear entirely. To actively grow knowledge, we must realize that items are constantly being forced into our attic space every time we encounter information. When we operate in our default mode, the Watson system, we do not consciously choose what memories are stored. Those memories store themselves. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they fade. It depends on the case. Sherlock Holmes does not store every detail of a situation inside his brain attic. He knows which details matter and which do not. More importantly, he understands which details are relevant for perceiving people accurately and which ones only create noise. Holmes is also an expert at identifying his own biases. He is aware that certain memories already stored in his brain attic can distort his perception of people and situations. That is why observation comes first. Before anything is placed into the brain attic, it must be examined deliberately. Observation is not a passive act, not merely allowing objects to enter our field of vision. It is an active skill. It requires knowing how to direct attention properly. Which details deserve focus? Which details can be ignored? This is not about collecting information, but about understanding context, about seeing how details fit within a broader framework of thought. What connections do you notice? And what do you already know that gives those connections meaning? Sherlock Holmes is not simply someone with a better memory or a person who stores more information than others. What truly sets him apart is his ability to see connections that most people completely miss. Holmes does not think in a linear way. His logic is rooted in imagination. He engages his entire mental network, allowing multiple possibilities to connect at once. Endlessly consuming information does not make us smarter. In fact, it often creates mental clutter, a state where the mind becomes crowded and difficult to access when we actually need it. In the art of scientific investigation, it is explained that learning how to observe follows the same principle as learning any other skill. At first, observation must be done consciously and deliberately, but through consistent practice, it gradually becomes automatic, a habit that operates without conscious effort. Improving foundational knowledge matters. Holmes himself believed that the brain attic must be kept clean, and yet paradoxically, he was a walking encyclopedia. His reading interests were vast. He studied art, music, and subjects that might seem completely unrelated to detective work, topics most people would dismiss as useless. Because over-specialization is dangerous, we should remain curious about many fields and allow ourselves to explore them. Exploring subjects adjacent to our main discipline is essential. It creates additional neural connections and builds a deeper, more resilient network of information in the brain. This internal process sharpens the mind. It enhances clarity, precision, and adaptability. Become deliberate about what you choose to master. Learn how to improve the way you think, and use that ability to achieve more, to think better, and to make decisions with greater intention and accuracy. Thank you.